cool. It looks like we're live. I am just going to chill out for a minute and let people join. The streaming is always sort of funky because it's such a delay from what I see to what you see. So I'm just gonna hang out. Like in my mind, I've got some music playing, so I'm like bopping along over here, just kind of waiting and hanging out. So awesome. I am so glad that you are here. I want to try to see if I can bring up the comments on my phone. Yes, I can. Awesome. Cool. So hopefully I will be able to see your comments. Please chat, say something, say hello in the comments if you are joining me. I would love to know who I've got here. And hopefully you brought something to drink. So I am having a little bit of a pre-New Year's Eve party with myself, I guess, apparently here. So got a little bit of White Rascal from Avery Brewing here in Colorado, so thanks for that. And yeah, so what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to talk budgeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a worksheet with you to show you exactly how I budget. And like, just to be super clear, I know a lot of you have financial resolutions in the new year. And so this is exactly how you meet those goals. Like, you have to make a plan for it. So I'm going to show you exactly how to make a plan for it. And then I want you to chat in any questions as they come up for you. So the first thing I want to mention, if you didn't grab it yet, if you go to terryslater.com/plan, I've got a budget template, which is what we're going to look at tonight, and you can follow along with it and tweak it and edit it and make it your own, but it's really super simple. And so I just want to give you guys that so you can download that, and then you will be able to follow along or do it afterwards, catch a replay and do it in your own time too. So a couple things that I just want to mention really quick. Actually, I was going to see if I could throw the link in the comments. I've got it down in the description below the video. I don't think I can type it into the comments. This is the first time I've done YouTube Live, so bear with me. I don't think I can type it into the comments. I don't see a place for me to chat. But anyhow, it's in the description of the video below. So go ahead and click on that if you want to get a copy of the plan. So a couple things I want to say. First and foremost, when we're talking about budgeting, if you are single and don't really have anyone, that you're working with when it comes to budgeting, the good news is you're not going to have any money fights. So that's super awesome. But you might also need some accountability. And so making this plan is exactly how you're going to get that accountability. And then if you are paired up, you're coupled up, you've got either one or more incomes coming in, but both of you spending, this should be a conversation. So this shouldn't be just a directive. And so I realize that in many, many relationships, one person actual money stuff, right? The finances, the bills, whatever. So if you're that person, if you are the person in the couple that does the money stuff, here's what I'm going to say. Coming from the person that was in a relationship that did the money stuff for the both of us, it's totally okay to, cut out some of the detail if it's unnecessary. Like when you're going through and having a budget conversation, I feel like personally anyway, I didn't need to go through and say here's our utilities this month and this is how much mortgages and this is how much we spent groceries. I do kind of talk about that, but those were the kind of things where basically I just said, hey, look, this is how much money we're bringing in this month. This is how much is just going to our basic covered bills, right? Like the mortgage, the utilities, groceries, those kind of things, because we had that really dialed in. And then what was left over after that, what we would call the discretionary spending, that's the part that we had a conversation about. And it's a conversation. It's not like I was saying okay, you get this much money to spend every month. Don't do that. That's going to take that person and just probably close them off right away because they're now being told what to do and it's no longer a conversation. So that's my warning, is that if you're the number person, go ahead and get the planning done to a certain point and then let the rest of it be a discussion. hopefully that makes sense. Okay, cool. So let's see here. What else? Also, before I jump in, I'm going to share my screen in a second, and we're going to look at the spreadsheet together. I'm also launching a free mini course in a couple weeks, and so it's going to be just like a 3-part video series, and it's really intended to just help you dial in like what exactly are your goals and what exactly is your financial situation today. So a lot of the clients that I work with, like that's step 1 is like just becoming aware of what your actual financial situation is today. So when people are going through budgets, a lot of times they've never done it before. And when I ask like, how did you come up with these numbers? Quite often it's a guess, and our guesses aren't really always accurate. It's kind of what we think is happening, but it's usually better than what's actually happening. What's actually happening is usually much higher spending than what we necessarily think is going on. So anyway, I'm going to do a 3-part video series that's going to launch January 25th, I think is that Monday. And so, feel free to type free in the comments if you would be interested in a free mini course. So like I said, it's a 3-part video series, and that's something that I will just like deliver through emails, and then you can just click and watch the daily videos and, hopefully get some help. We'll have a little Facebook group that goes along with that too, to get questions answered and have some accountability. But just to be able to bounce ideas off each other too, I think sometimes can help. Because sometimes we want to just talk about, it's hard to talk about money, right? But sometimes it's easier with strangers than people that we know. But sometimes we want to figure out like, what are other families of 5 spending on their groceries every month, right? Because sometimes you might hear about a family that's spending like $1,500 a month in groceries, and it's like, holy cow, we're only spending like $800 a month in groceries. And then you might get into a conversation about, well, like, how are you doing that? And then it gets really good conversations going because you can start to learn from what other people are doing, which I always say, like, surround yourself with like smart people who are doing the things that you want to do, right? I mean, you don't want to like have a whole bunch of people around you that aren't doing well financially. That's nobody to model yourself after. So anyway, surround yourself with good people, and that's what I hope to do with this video series too. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in, and I want to show you this plan. So again, what we're looking at here is if you have downloaded the template for this, what you're going to see is the first tab will open up automatically to the instructions. So this is just like, if you're not an Excel person, I understand a lot of people are not spreadsheet people. I am. So that's why I created it this way. But there's some basic instructions on like how to move through the tabs, how to like duplicate them and then copy them over and things like that. So there's instructions here at the first tab, and then come over to January. And I'm just going to give you kind of like a high level overview of basically like how I want you to approach your planning. I'm going to have a little sip of my beer here. Okay, so we're going to start off with, okay, a lot of this, the way that I format things is I love spreadsheets because I make the equations work for me so that I don't have to do any math in my head. So if you just put in like your incomes over in this, you can like type over, you don't have to call it salary one. You can rename it to like this person's income or that person's income, or this is the DoorDash income and this is the regular job income. I don't care what you do with it. But anyway, put in the numbers here and it's going to add up, and I will show you all the different ways that this is going to flow through. So I'm going to put in a really outrageous number here. So we'll put in like 9,000. So what you're going to see is down below, this total changes in that box right there. The total up here, the starting income now changes. And then down at the bottom of the spreadsheet, you're going to see we've got like a remainder, and that's like after your spending. So all of these things are just calculations. So you just type in the basic numbers, and then we'll go and plan from there. Okay, so what are we going to start with? We're going to start with like the most critical expenses, and I always say basically like, if you lost one or both of the salaries coming into the home, what kind of things would you still pay for? Because if you've never had to deal with this before, it's what we call a crisis budget. So like if someone loses their job or you get laid off or some crisis happens, a lot of times people will start to cut out everything that's unnecessary and no longer spend on things, like NFL Sunday ticket, can you cancel that, right? Or can I like cancel my Amazon Prime subscription? You just start cutting stuff, right? Sometimes it's like, activities, clubs, hobbies, whatever, that kind of stuff. Sometimes it has to go by the wayside while you're in a crisis. So I want you to just focus on, if there were a crisis, what would be the things that you would still pay for? Like, that's the mentality that I want you to look at these things as. So you're going to see the very first thing that I have on this spreadsheet. I just stuck it in as like a Roth IRA because that's basically like after-tax savings. So if you have a goal to save more, I want you to plug that number in first and foremost. So 2021 looks like it's going to be the same as 2020. To max out a Roth IRA is $6,000, which equals $500 a month. So that's why I've got $500 a month in there. Then you plug in your mortgage or your rent number, then plug in groceries. And I want to just say this, groceries and dining out, not the same thing at all. Not the same. Food that you make at home and food that you get out at a restaurant have two very, very different price points. So we're just going to recognize that right now. All I'm talking about is if you make the majority of your meals at home, what would you spend on your groceries? Okay, put that number in. Next is going to be like necessary car expenses for like getting you like to and from work or to and from like wherever it is you need to drive in order to get this income. I want you to plug that number in for your auto expense there. Okay, let's see here. And I actually have auto insurance down below because that can be an annual number or a semi-annual number for a lot of people. So anyway, just stick fuel up there. And then so like for me personally, I've got like a gym that I belong to, and so that's something I've just got set up to take out every month. You can plug in things like that, but also be mindful. Again, if this were a crisis, I would probably cut that out, right? So I would actually take that and delete it if I was only looking, but I'm not at a crisis. I'm not looking at a crisis. So, but I want you to just like have that mindset though. These are necessities. This is not all the extra spending. So if you have life insurance, you want to keep paying on that. I'm not going to get into like the differences in life insurance tonight, but that is something I can always talk to people about too. Your internet expenses, your like cell phone expenses, and then utilities, same thing. This number actually pulls from this little grid over here. So you can just type in whatever the amounts are for your utilities and it'll carry over. Again, I'll plug in like a crazy number like 300 for electric, and you can see that that number like, goes over into the utilities. Clear? Okay, so what we're looking at is if this is your income and these are your basic like necessary living expenses right here, we're going to scroll down to the bottom and start to see how much is left. Okay, and then because everything else that's like down here below is basically like a lot of discretionary spending, okay? So again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to put down, some basic numbers here. I'm going to change this back actually to like 4,000 for that first salary, so I'm not dealing with like such a huge margin. But I'm going to just kind of approach this the way that I approach my own. And so I currently have a goal to, save, I don't know, I'm saving close to like 25-30% of my income right now. So, I'm just going to plug in a number. I've already got the Roth IRA up there. Let's just say that I want to save like $2,000 a month. So I'm going to put in like $1,500 into that savings because I've also got the other savings up above here. I don't have any debt anymore. That was part of my journey, was paying off $200,000 in debt. So I don't have any debt anymore, which is awesome. So I don't have to worry about paying extra towards anything to get rid of any debt. So I'm just going to plug away a huge chunk into savings. I'm going to scroll down and show you now how much is left, $486. Okay. You can see I already have some stuff like thrown in here. So let me just scroll to the bottom and stay there. I have Netflix. It's the only subscription that I have. I don't do Amazon Prime. I don't do Spotify. I'm on like a free thing. So I don't pay for that. I don't pay, but I want a lot of you to look and see what really are you spending in all the different like subscriptions to all these little things, because it became such a trend to like cut the cable, right? And I'm a huge fan. I haven't had cable since like 2012, but cut the cable, and then all of a sudden we started having like Apple TV or HBO Max, and now there's Netflix, and I need my music, so there's Spotify or Pandora, and then like all the subscriptions almost add up to be as much as like the cable bills used to be. So I just like want everyone to be like really mindful of that. So anyway, I've got subscriptions. Again, you can change like all of these categories, okay? I've got like my own personal spending money is in here. It's like $100 a month. I'll be honest, sometimes I go over that, but if I do go over it, it's like $200 a month. It's just really, it's not a lot. And that's usually like if I'm, you know, I don't know. It's random stuff that happens to come out. Like if I, you know, see something on Amazon that I buy that's like $15, that goes in my miscellaneous category. The other miscellaneous is usually stuff that's more for like my daughters. So like if there's anything that comes up for them that I buy, like I don't put that under my own category. I put that under like just other miscellaneous. So anyway, that's like $150. That's like my spending money. That's like my fluff category. So you'll realize what yours is too. Okay, so that's the things I've got kind of down here. I'm going to scroll back up to the top because clearly I do occasionally spend some money on alcohol on that note. Okay, truth be told, it's anywhere between $25 to $50 a month for me usually. And I do stick to that pretty well. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't necessarily like cut myself off if I've hit like a $45 mark and then I want to go buy a six pack and it's like $10. Like I don't care if I go over by like $5. I really don't care because I'm not going into debt over it and whatever, right? Okay, so auto insurance. Okay, let's talk about this for a quick second. I do actually pay my car insurance once a month, but I know a lot of people pay for theirs like twice a year or maybe once a year. So I'm going to take this minute to kind of pop over here to the periodic expense tab that's also on this budget. And this is where you can list out things like your insurance. So if you pay your car insurance, let's say twice a month, like every 6 months, twice a year. I want you to list it out in the months that you pay for it. So let's say that you pay for it in January and then you also pay for it like in July, right? If those are the 2 months that you're paying for that, then I want you to list it here. And the reason that I'm going to have you do that is because then with every single given month, like I come to this spreadsheet, my spreadsheet is quite full. I mean, it's got a lot of things like listed in different months, but I write out like, you know, the months that there's birthdays that I'm going to probably buy something for, or if I have like a trip that's planned, or if I do a 4th of July party. Like, I mean, you can write down Christmas and Halloween if you like need the reminder. But what I want you to do then is every month when you go to start your budget, I want you to look at these categories and then think, oh yeah, I've got my insurance this month, so I need to plug that in. So if you're paying for that like on an every 6 month basis, that might be a big number. So throw that in. Same thing with like car maintenance. Like I just got new tires last month, so I don't really need that in there. But if this were the month that like maybe I'm gonna get my brakes done, I'll throw in like $250 for that, right? But do you see what just happened? Like I just went over, right? So my remainder is now negative. So you can see that that's what happens. Like you get to start looking at these numbers and doing the math on it. So let's just say that that was really the case. I've got a $500 insurance and $250 for new brakes. What's gonna give? Because I'm not gonna put this on a credit card if I can't afford to pay that bill at the end of the month. So that probably means that I'm gonna take out of my savings, right, to cover that. So if I reduce my savings now, okay, great, I have $11 left. Okay, so the main reason that I just want to show you this, like I'm going to stop there. I mean, this is, these categories are different for all of us and it all, changes every month and all that kind of thing. But what I want to point out to you is that I want to make sure that whatever your goal is, whatever this resolution is that you're planning on for next year, if you want to save more, if you want to get out of debt, you better stick that first in your plan and then figure out how you're not going to spend it away. Okay? Because what happens traditionally is that people don't have this like line item in here for savings, right? This is not in there. Maybe they don't even have this much. If you've got, maybe you think, oh, well, I'm putting into my retirement at work, so it's already covered. Well, I mean, we can usually almost always do better. But let's say I had credit card debt and I wanted to pay it down. If I look at my remainder right now, because I took out the savings, right? Maybe I could say I'm going to pay $1,500 towards my debt this month, if that were the case. And then look, I still have $200 that I can maybe relax a little bit and maybe have a little bit of dining out or something like that. But I promise you, if you look at what your current spending is and you're spending like $500 a month going out to eat, which I know in COVID times is not necessarily the case, but if you're still spending like excessive amounts of money going out to eat, and then wondering like why you're carrying that debt for so long or why you're still not saving enough, you have to look really hard at where you're actually spending your money. So, I'll get off my soapbox now. But that's how I plan it. And so I really just want to make sure to highlight again, you want to prioritize whatever it is that you have, these goals, these resolutions. Make your plan for it. That's all a budget is. It is a spending plan. It's how do you plan to spend your money. The hard work comes when you have to look at yourself and look at those that are involved with you and realize, are we doing the best that we can to reach these goals? But the plan is again, it's only the plan. It's not the follow through. The follow through is on you. That's where you really need to be watching what you're doing, managing how you track your expenses, all that. So that's the kind of thing that I help with when I do one-on-one coaching with folks. So if that's something that you think you need, you can certainly talk to me about that. The link to contact me is below the video description as well too. But so with that, I don't think that I have had a single question come in unless my chat is just not functioning, but I don't think I've had any questions come in. So with that, I will stop there and let me just pop back over here to, again, in the description, I just want to make sure that you are able to find the copy of the template too. So if you want to grab that template, you can download that and work on your own spending plan. And yeah, I think I'll leave you with that. So I'm hoping that you have a great plan for January and that 2021 just pans out better for a lot of us. It's been an interesting year. I'm not going to say it's been bad. It's been pretty great in my book, but that's just me. So anyhow, I'm wishing a very happy 2021 for you. Have a very safe and happy new year. And thanks so much for joining, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.